Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. New Zealand sailing history at the Viaduct, 5 May 2012. The icon Steinlager 2 is back home where she belongs, joined by Lion New Zealand. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, thank you for joining us this afternoon on this significant and historic day. Steinlager 2 was a watershed campaign for New Zealand sailing that changed the face of campaigns racing around the world and established a new order of world sailing. Skippering Steinlager 2 to win the 5th Whitbread was the most significant in Peter Blake's illustrious career. This was his 3rd attempt as a skipper to win the Whitbread. The comprehensive victory silenced doubters and reassured his supporters to continue backing him in future challenges for the Jules Verne and America's Cup. Peter Blake learnt a lot from the frustration and disappointment of previous races. For edition 5 of the Whitbread, Blake put together the perfect campaign. Steinlager 2 won every leg to take overall victory against some formidable and excellent opposition. Now we will hear from two of the outstanding crew aboard Steinlager 2. First, my pleasure to introduce Mark Orams, Professor Mark Orams, who has more letters after his name than the length of his name himself, and then Glen Sowry, who's come a long way from his days on Steinlager 2, writing the award-winning book Big Red, to a senior job with Air New Zealand. First, Professor Mark Orams.
Thank you, PJ. Kia ora, everybody. His Worship the Mayor, Len Brown, family members and friends of Steinlager 2, and visitors and guests, thank you for coming on this beautiful day. I'd just like to start by acknowledging those fellow crewmates and team members from the Steinlager Challenge who are not able to be with us here today. There are quite a number of them, and they were all significant, not just with regard to this boat, but with regard to some of the heritage of New Zealand yachting. So I'm not going to name them all, with the exception of one, of course, who's no longer with us, and that's Sir Peter Blake. So I certainly remember him, acknowledge his contribution, not just to our victory on Steinlager 2, but to New Zealand yachting and indeed New Zealand as a whole, and we remember him today. I'd also, on behalf of the crew, like to thank the team who's brought Big Red Steinlager 2 down here from the other side of the planet. This is the first time she's been back here in Auckland since we left in January 1990. It's a very significant voyage to bring her back down here, so thank you, and we acknowledge your significant voyage and bringing her home. So thank you to the team who's brought her here from the Mediterranean. One of the great privileges you can have in life is to work extremely hard at something really difficult with a great team and to achieve a dream result. And that's what Steinlager 2 was. A great team working with a great leader. And from my own personal point of view, it is something I'll always be grateful for and feel very privileged to be a part of. What I'm most excited about in having this boat back home, however, is not that connection to the past. It's the role that she's going to play now in a new generation of young New Zealanders. Our Mayor will know that there are some young Aucklanders and New Zealanders who live here right now who's never even been to the beach, let alone been out on the water. The NZ Sailing Trust with Steinlager 2 and Lion New Zealand is going to give those young New Zealanders an opportunity to go out and do what should be every New Zealander's birthright. To go out on our wonderful waters, to learn about it, to be challenged and to grow as a result. And so I applaud the team and the NZ Sailing Trust, William Goodfellow, Ash Taylor and the rest of them who have been involved in this initiative and in bringing her home. So congratulations to you. I look forward to thousands of young Kiwis getting out, getting on board and learning about our fascinating maritime environment that we're blessed to have here. Thank you.
Mark Orams, Professor Mark, well spoken, you're coming on very nicely. Now Glen Sowry.
Thank you, PJ. What a privilege to be back on board Big Red today. And for a number of us, the crew that sailed on the boat, the opportunity to be able to have our children on board as we sailed in and to see them on the grinders and imagine what their dads did back in the day was a pretty cool experience. It's, as Marco said, it's hard to believe that it's 22 years since we sailed Steinlager 2 out of Auckland Harbour heading towards Cape Horn on the fourth leg of the Whitbread race. And it's hard to imagine 22 years on that Big Red's home. And I have no doubt that our good mate Pete Blake would be absolutely delighted to see arguably his most famous offshore boat back at home. I'd especially like to acknowledge Stefan Detjen, who's been the owner of Steinlager 2 for 10 or 11 years. For Stefan, Steinlager 2 has been a real odyssey, a labour of love, and he's looked after our boat beautifully. Stepping on board today was incredible. It was like nothing had changed. And so to Stefan and your team who have looked after our boat so well, thank you very much. As Mark said, Sir Peter believed very passionately in developing young people, and indeed there were a number of us who were fortunate to sail with Peter in his various campaigns, a whole lot younger at the time, that Pete saw talent and opportunity and potential in. And so to me, when I look to the future, as Mark said, and what the potential that this yacht creates for young New Zealanders is indeed very, very exciting. And we sincerely hope that lots of young Kiwis get the opportunity to experience and learn to love the ocean and the Hauraki Gulf like we did on board this magnificent yacht. Thank you.
Now, it's our pleasure as Chairman of the Trust, William Goodfellow, along with Tony Stevenson, had a vision, and they're expanding the trustees. So William Goodfellow to make a very, very special presentation. William.
Good afternoon, everyone. It certainly is a great day. It's been a long time in the coming, and certainly for Stefan, particularly and his crew, all the way from Italy. So just got a small token of our appreciation, just a taonga or a treasure from a little piece of New Zealand for you, Stefan. Just a token of our appreciation. Wonderful job. Thank you very much.
Stefan, if you can just come up, we'll just have a quick comment from you and we can just show what you've got here as well. I'm not sure whether you're expecting to say something. Just let's show the folks what William's given you. Now, this is, New Zealanders know this is very special and very important, and the New Zealanders and your crew can be explained just exactly the significance. Well, Mia Lian will be a very good person to start, and Professor Mark can tell you. That's just wonderful. But Stefan, wonderful. I had the chance of sailing with Stefan in Alicante last November on Steinlager 2. It was a wonderful day, and I haven't forgotten it either. Wonderful. Stefan.
I don't know what to say, because when you're working a long time on a project, and it was a kind of a project, but what I like to do is to say thank you to a couple of people. First of all, my wife that can't be here today, and she's following us on a kind of a webcam, so if you're all waving, she will see us. She's home, and my kids, but the trip is too long, but we will come back here. And one thing wasn't true what has been said. I never was the owner of that ship. I was only the custodian. Really? So this ship belongs to New Zealand. And it was a strange thing. It was not me that found the ship, it was the yacht that found us to bring her back. Why, I don't know. Why they selected me, I don't know. But we did everything, and it was a long 11 years for us, and also for them, because ships like that are not easy to handle. But be aware, for everybody that goes on board of Steinlager, when you go there, it's something special that takes you. It's not publicity that I'm doing now. It's true. So it's a fascinating magic sailing on this ship. And once you are on board, you will stay on, and you will understand why we did that and why they came all around from Europe here. What was the idea of the new life of Steinlager? I love it very much, because we had Italians, we had French, Germans, South African, Swedish. So this is a boat for all that share the love of the sea, of sailing. And it was a good thing 23 years ago to build that ship, because she won every regatta that she was on, not only the Whitbread, but she goes on winning and winning. And I think it's the only yacht that still has a chance to win. Just buy a new couple of sails and you will see you're unbeatable of that. So thank you again for you all for coming, and especially for my crew that believed in me even in hard times. And yeah, they know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you for all joining us today. Wonderful. This is just a great occasion to have this icon back in New Zealand. Thank you.